Hi everybody, welcome to Birdie in the Books. I know, a sit-down filmed video. Who is she? But I'm trying some new things with a new camera that I got, new to me. So I figured I would do a ginormous book haul from March till now, which is about the middle of May as of filming. So grab a drink, grab a snack, get ready to sit down and watch my budget book haul. Okay, so we are going to start with, my birthday was in March, so we are going to start with my friends being awesome and sending me books for my birthday. This first one is by my friend Christine, who also has a channel. Hasn't been active on her channel, but I do think she's going to come back at some point. It is The Austens of Steventon. It's a nonfiction about Jane Austen, and if you know anything about me, I'm obsessed with Jane Austen, so any new nonfiction, I'm going to buy it or put it on my wish list. So thank you very much, Christine, and thank you for the lovely note. The next one, that's on from my birthday section of the book haul, is from my friend Amanda from The Naughty Librarian, who you will hear often in this book haul because she is a book enabler, and I'm saying that with love. But she wanted me to read Alona Andrews. Burn for Me is the first in the trilogy. I believe it's a trilogy, or the first trilogy. And I try to go into books with very little knowledge, so you're not going to get like me reading synopsis. But anybody that I mention in this book haul will be linked down below. And if you're not following them, you should. They're my friends, so they're awesome people. And this next one, she does not have a channel, but if you know and follow me, you know this person. I used to host a book club that's on hiatus with her, Jen, and I will link down below her Instagram because she's not really active on the internet much. But as a disabled person myself, I'm always looking for a disabled rep in romances. And we read these in the book club last year, or the first two. I haven't read Darn It All, which is the third one in the trilogy, but these are sex-positive romances with people with different disabilities by Evie Mitchell. Sorry. Stuff fell out. Sorry. So, there's a girl in a wheelchair. And the book 2 is a girl that suffers with Crohn's. Again, Evie Mitchell, and it's representation because Evie Mitchell has some disabilities herself. So that is the end of the portion of my friends buying me stuff because it was my birthday in March. The second section is books that I bought used. Pango, thrift books, anything like that. And if you're curious, I have a Pango shop myself, which will be linked down below. And I have 2 links. One link is a link with my code on it, where you can get anything off if you use that link. You don't even have to buy from my store. You can just use that link and find books that you want and purchase, and I'll get a little tiny kickback from Pango. But the first book that I picked up was Once Upon a Time. I didn't know there was books that went along with the TV series. My other half and I binge watched the whole entire series. So afterwards, I found out there were books. And this author it's Once Upon a Time Reawakened by, if I could see the author, that'd be great. Bear with me 1 second. Odette Bean. I apologize if I said that incorrectly. I think this is only one book, but there's another series that's connected to Once Upon a Time that I found. The next one is The Once Upon a Time Regina's Rising. And I don't know if these will show up okay because it's got very reflective covers. And these are by Wendy Tolliver. Again, all by the same. These two are by Wendy Tolliver, and the last one's by a different author. And it's Once Upon a Time Red's Untold Tale. And these have sprayed edges, which I think are pretty cool. And the last one, I believe, in the series, or the last one that I could find, was Once Upon a Time Henry and Violet by Michelle Zink. And this one will be shiny, and I apologize because it's a used library copy. I like how they're these tiny hardcovers. And these two I found on Pango. I do a lot of my shopping on Pango. I didn't know this was a thing, but Once Upon a Time had Marvel Comics. So I have Once Upon a Time Out of the Past, and Once Upon a Time Shadow of the Queen. These covers are just awesome. I can't wait to read these. So that ends the Once Upon a Time, I watched the whole entire series and I'm obsessed section. And these are ones that this one I purchased with my own money because it supports a internet friend of mine. The author, or poet I should say, because this is a poetry collection, Karen Talley, who is known as K the Reader on Instagram and YouTube, has a poetry collection, Something on the Inside. I meant to read this for March, which I believe is Poetry Month, but March was uncommonly busy for me, so this is definitely on my TBR. This is another 2 Pango finds. I will hold both of these up because it's part of a duology as far as I know. And this is Dee Dee at Brown Girl Reading's fault because she talked about these so much that I wanted to read them. The first one is The Last Thing You Surrender by Leonard Pitch Jr. And the second one is 54 Miles by Leonard Pitch Jr. And the first one, I believe this is a duology as far as I know, but I can't wait to read these off of Dee Dee's recommendation. And this section is just because my friends tell me that I need to read books and I go and buy them. Most of the time I find them used. But this is from my friend Helen. What Kitty Did Next. It is a fiction about Kitty, the sister in Pride and Prejudice, because you don't really get her story, per se, in Pride and Prejudice, so it's a version of possibly Pride and Prejudice and what happens after the events of Pride and Prejudice to Kitty. By Carrie Calby. I apologize if I said that incorrectly. This one was another Pango find. And another recommendation from a internet friend of mine, Alyssa at Nerdy Nurse Reads, has been telling me to read Thomas Pynchon, and no, I will not read Gravity's Rainbow. I tried in college and I did not like it, but I'm willing to try again, and this is Mason Dixon. Again, know nothing, I just know there's like sentient clocks, and it's goofy, and she laughs a lot. I'm in. I will give it a try. It is chunky, though. It is... This copy, at least, is 800 pages. This is chunky. This mini section here, or next, I should say, is what I purchased on Independent Bookstore Day. My boyfriend and I went shopping on Independent Bookstore Day, and I love trying to support indie bookstores when I can. So I picked up one used book and one new book. The new book, and again, this is because of Dee Dee from Brown Girl Reading, On her channel, a bunch of us are going to do a read-along of Bleak House by Charles Dickens. And I just love this cover because I've never seen these covers before. And here's just a really random one. I just picked it up because of the title. The Science of Game of Thrones by Helen Keane. And just because of the title, and I love the books of Game of Thrones and the first 4 seasons of the show before it started going a little wonky. And this next section is for collection purposes. There's very few series that I try to fully collect. So I have the first 2, and this is technically, I think, the 4th, but maybe a 0.5 because it's a prequel. It's Elfie by Gregory Maguire, A Wicked Childhood. And I love these little cute hardcovers, and just look at the sprayed edges. So pretty. I'm not a sprayed edges person, but those are really pretty. And this one is, I slowly, and probably will never fully catch up, collecting the Twisted Tales of Disney villains, I guess you would call it. It's the tale from the villain's perspective, and they're books by Disney, and the one that was on sale was Mirror, 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 A Twisted Tale by Jen Kalanita. And I just love these covers. If anybody knows me at all, I love classics, and I was talking to a friend about this specific book and realized I never owned a copy because both times I had to read it in college, I read it through the library, which, support your local libraries, especially now because it's very important. But I picked up a copy of Anne Bronte's The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. This is one of my favorite classics that isn't Jane Austen. But I remember loving this when I was younger, and now as an adult I would love to reread it. And I like the Penguin Black Spine editions. So when I found it, I snapped it up, and it wasn't super expensive. Because I'm cheap when it comes to books. And this one will not go on my TBR because I've read it twice. I've never owned it physically, but they had it for sale for $5, and it is one of my favorite authors of all time. Stephen Graham Jones, Mapping the Interior. And it's such a different cover. Like, I had the audiobook, so I had a completely different cover in my head. And when I saw this book for $5, I grabbed it because I have a hard time spending full amounts of money on novellas. But I'm slowly trying to collect everything written by Stephen Graham Jones. He's one of my favorite authors, period. And this is just a random selection of books that I'm doing for projects and books that I was sent. This is Discovery by J.A.J. Minton. And I ordered a signed copy. And they are Talking Story on YouTube. So I will also link that down below. And I haven't read it yet, but I'm planning on getting to it before the end of the year. So, earlier this year I read the Hunger Games trilogy for the first time. I missed it when it was popular. I don't know. That's probably when I went through my classics period, so I missed a lot of books that came out when I was in college. So, I really enjoyed the original trilogy, so I picked up these 2 prequels. The first one is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. And the second one is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I will be having a discussion at some point in September with my friend, a different Amanda. Her channel will be linked down below as well. So, since I read the original trilogy, I wanted to get to the prequels to have a full series discussion with her. Welcome to my obligatory Jane Austen section, and I recently read a book by this author. I just finished it today. I've owned it for a long time, but I'm slowly working on a project for myself of reading the books that I own. So I finished The Jane Austen Society by Natalie Jenner, and then this is one of the pre-orders that I allowed myself for the year. Her new book is Austen at Sea, and it's about someone researching Austen and finding some of her letters, and it's a literary fiction. So, and I love this cover, so I can't wait to get to this. And this is a nonfiction that, again, Nerdy Nurse Reads, Alyssa, told me about, and I automatically picked up. It's called The Jane Austen Bookshelf, a rare book collector's quest to find the women writers who shaped the legend. And this cover is just beautiful. And I will read any nonfiction based on Jane Austen. That's just going to be me. And the last little bit is my friend Amanda at the Naughty Librarian. One is a gift from her, and one is because we sort of buddy read a book and then realized it was going to be, I don't know if this is going to be a trilogy or if it's just going to be 2 books. But we recently read Red Rabbit by Alex Grecian. And then when we finished that, we found out, sorry about that there was a sequel that came out in the beginning of March. And the sequel is The Rose of Jericho by Alex Grecian. We're going to buddy read this, I think, sooner rather than later. And this one is just because she's awesome. She went to the LA Times Book Festival, and Victoria Roth was there. And I recently read When Among Crows through my library and loved it. So she lovingly got this signed for me. And we are going to buddy read, along with my friend Helen, the sequel that's coming out in September. And the last book of this book haul is something that came today. I haven't even technically opened it yet. Let's see. I know who this is from, but I will explain in a moment. And this is Pack of Wolves, Book 5 in the Drowned Kingdom Saga by my friend, P.L. Stewart. And I think he signed it to me. Yes, he did. He put a little note in. I will read the note privately. But I'm so excited. I've been doing deep dive discussions on my channel since book 1 of the Drowned Kingdom Saga. And this is book 5. So keep an eye out for the discussion coming soon. Thank you very much to everybody who sent me books for my birthday or just sent me books because they thought of me when they saw it. I greatly appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff, and let me know a pre-order that you've recently got that you would love to get to as soon as possible. Thanks. Bye.